Hi guys, this is Jeff from Railway City Hobbies, and our review today is on the Bowser Montreal Locomotive Works 636. This is a new release for late October. So what we have here, this one is a CP version. This is a later version. You'll notice by the modified air intake up here, and also the still dots on it. So with this you get the standard MU hoses, the CP Rock Pilot, functioning ditch lights, drop step which is not functioning, plastic grab irons in front stanchions, and safety chain. Roof mounted bell, separately applied wipers on the front, your sanding hatch on the front here as well, separately applied grabs here and here. New for this release is the actual class lights do actually function. So this is the most modern version. Well, not the most modern version, because there is another version without the Pac-Man. Sorry, the multi-marks. People are going to yell at me for calling it Pac-Man, but the multi-mark, there is another version, but we're not showing it. There is not a lot of differences between this version and that. So again, you got your air intake, the modified air intake at the front here. Your DeFasco trucks. Your fuel tank with your filler neck here, and your brake rigging on the truck, and get your 3-chime horn at the back here, and your exhaust port here. We'll look at the top after. At the rear you got your, again, MU hoses, your train line. These come factory equipped with KD whisker couplers. These are not scale head, they're standard head. Your coupler cut lever there. Seems to be metal because the screwdriver's magnetic. Again, your separately applied grabs going up the back of the locomotive. Separately applied grabs on top and on the side. Filler neck, and then you got your air tanks hanging out just down below here, just below the sill. Fuel tank, brake rigging, and in your DeFasco trucks, the bearings do not turn. So let's go to the top of this locomotive. So on the top there is lots of separately applied detail on this. Separately applied lift rings here, here, all through here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on either side. And then you got your radiator grill with your metal etched walkway over top of the grill. Sand filler hatch at the back here. 2 grab irons at the back. Sinclair antenna. So I'm going to grab another variation. So again, this is still dots with a modified intake. So now we're going to go to one before that. So back to the standard intake, and still the white sill line still has a multi-mark. Horn is in the same location. It has an extra Sinclair antenna on the front. Excuse me. No difference in variation on this locomotive to the prior one. MU hoses, all the grabs, all same color, all same location. Forgot to note separately applied brake hand wheel right here. Fuel tank, air tanks, filler neck, All the same detail as the prior, just the extra antennae on the front and the actual sill, the white line on the sill. So then we're going to go back. So this, again, we're doing all 8-inch stripes in this video. Again, we still have, so this one is different. There is no sill stripe at all. There's no sill dots, no sill lines, no sill anything. This is earlier time frame for CP. The horn is mounted on top of the bell now, instead of in front of the exhaust. Other than that, there is no other variation. Still CP rock plow, all the same detail. All the same detail. You got to, on the earlier ones, I forgot to note the metal etch walkway over top of the dynamic area here. So we'll go back to the starter. There is many variations of this locomotive. We're only going to cover 3 in this, just because I could be here all night with all the different variations. 5-inch stripe, non-air start, air start. Then you get into when they went to Delaware, Lackawanna, and Minnesota commercial. Minnesota commercial is actually a unique one. It's actually, originally 4711 came with the 251 Elko, and later down the road it was powered with a Caterpillar prime mover, and then was sold and still in service with Minnesota commercial, which it also has the large intake, modified air intakes. So we're going to get this set up so we can hear the sounds and see the lighting functions with this locomotive. We'll be right back. Alright, so now we have the locomotive on a piece of track with the connectors going to the programmer so we can test this on the bench here. So we'll start with lighting features. So starting with the light. So your number boards light up. When you hit F0, your headlights light up and your ditch lights do light up. And if you hit F6, the ditch lights get brighter. This may have been a factory thing when the ditch lights were always operating and when the lights were on. Now the class lights, F5, so the first time they go white, then they go, if you hit F5 again, they'll go green, and then again they'll turn red, and then back to nothing. So now we're going to turn on the prime mover. And I'm going to warn you, this is too loud. So what I'm going to recommend in this case is I'm going to actually read this locomotive to find out what the sound is at and turn it down, because with this locomotive there's 2 speakers in this locomotive, and when they're wired in parallel it reduces the ohms. So these are 2 8-ohm speakers in here that are when they're wired in parallel, they'll actually change down to 4, so the sound is fairly too loud. So we're going to change the volume down from max volume, and we're going to change it down. So we're going to change CV63 to 110. I'm just going to write that into this locomotive. Now a lot of you guys with the SD40-2F said it was too quiet, so maybe Bowser thought, hey, we'll make it super loud. See, that's better. I also noted I did a test on this, and when I sounded the horn, the speakers were distorting. So now when I sound the horn with F2, there's no distortion in the speaker. So now what we're going to do is this also is a full throttle equipped locomotive, so we're going to turn on the full throttle with F9. So we're going to notch 1. Notch 2. Notch 3. Notch 4. Notch 5. Notch 6. Notch 7. And that is notch 8. So we're bringing it back down to idle. Sounds very good for this locomotive. So with that, we're going to do some weigh-ins and do some slow run-bys and do a pull test. So we'll be right back. Alright, so now we have the push and pull test set up. And so we're going to do this at speed step 4 on 128 speed step. I'm just using the independent brake to stop the locomotive in between tests. So on the first pull, release the brake. And we got a 70. Second pull. I have a 75. Third pull. Got a 75. So this doesn't pull as much as the SD40 at 85 grams. What it does pull. I'll have a little bit of silence for a second here. We're getting the push set up. I'll try to at least. Okay, so first push. We have an 80 on the first push, an 85. Take out the slack. Second push. Got a 75. And the last push. Got a 70. So I got 3 different numbers. We'll try it one more time. $75. So we'll throw out that first one. That may for some reason it didn't. I've never been able to replicate that 85. So now we will weigh it in, and we'll be right back. So as you would you're gonna guess that with the drawbar and push bar test being lower, that this locomotive will weigh less, and it does. So let's weigh this locomotive. The Bowser M636 weighs in at 17.6 ounces, or in grams, if I can get that done right. Exactly 500 grams, which is lighter. I know that the Bowser the SD40-2s are 2 ounces heavier than that. Turn this off. One of my criticisms with this Bowser M636 is the packaging. The packaging works fantastic for the Red Barns. For the SD40-2s, it doesn't work well for this, and I'll show you why. So in this Delaware Lackawanna unit, there's others like, not just this one, but other ones. The foam piece that holds down the top of the locomotive pushes down on the walkway over top of the hatches over top of the prime mover. And this is what you get. This one has broken in half it's going back. It's not repairable because this foam piece is sitting right on top of here and putting pressure on it and causing some of them to break. Or if this shifts a little bit, it'll actually do. I'll show you another one. On this one here, this is the CP unit. I've already opened it and look at this. The foam piece here, it has done and moved this the walkway, and also damaged this grab iron or lift ring. Haven't seen too many do that. This is actually the first one. I did some inspection on a bunch of these units. Some of these, like the actual walkways, are out of place and just need to be relocated and pushed back, and a little bit of CA or a little bit of glue to put it back to place. But this case, this is an isolated case where the lift ring has been bent down. Just because when they put it in, when the factory put it in there for some reason, if the locomotive is shifting back and forth, it's causing tension on that, and they're just small locator pins holding that piece in. This piece should have been made bigger and located up here. Because if I put it there, when I actually put the other side of the clamshell, it does nothing. So for the couple cents it would have taken to make this piece thicker, to put it here and put tension on, now you're causing damage over top of the prime mover, and these things are the actual walkways are breaking off or being broken in half, and stuff is being damaged. This is like a cheap out, or just I don't know what you call it. I'm gonna take flack for this anyways, but I'm being straightforward and honest. This could have been solved very simply by using a better, like a thicker piece of foam, and putting it in a place where there's not separately applied detail that doesn't, you're not putting pressure on, you can't break it off. Outside of that, is one of my that's one of the complaints I have about this locomotive. The other being yes, the class lights is a fantastic addition to the locomotive. Don't get me wrong, and the ditch lights are nice and bright. The only detractor to that is if you're from the side, because they're recessed into the locomotive from the side, you don't see any illumination. The illumination is pointed directly down the rail. Some people may complain about that, but all in all, very, very nicely detailed locomotive. Nice smooth running locomotive. You're gonna have a nice running, nice sounding locomotive. But it is a little disappointing that it's not up to standards like the other releases they have. It's still very light for a locomotive that was supposed to be, like, when they call it was often referred to as like the big brute from the 80s. Like, between the SD40s and these were the two top pullers anywhere. All the railroads use these as their mainline locomotives. They're heavy haulers. Before the GEs came in with their Dash 9s and whatnot, these ruled the rails in Canada and in a lot of mostly Canada. These ones, the MLWs, the C636s, the Centuries from Elko, the sister of them, ruled a lot of railroads, minus Union Pacific, because they use all kinds of bigger stuff than most railroads would ever even attempt, like the DD40AX. Anyways, so this concludes my review. Thank you for watching. Happy modeling.